Well, that didn't work, did it? Our new camera seems to be worse than the old camera that we had, so we've bought a new camera. This is another bit of a test. It's also an introduction to our Zulu Susu sauce. Fingers crossed this one will go a little bit better. This could be an HD, so I can only apologise guys, but you're stuck with me. Right, here we go, Zulu Susu. This was the first non-chili sauce that we did for our cooking range. It uses an onion and garlic base, and then it's got a lot of African spices in there. I've said before, and I'll say it again, the African spice palette, the spices used in Africa are very similar to sort of Indian spices. A lot of that comes from the trade that went on the east coast of the Indian Ocean, round about Durban and places like that. There's no curry in this one, but people do describe it as a sort of curryish taste. There's a bit of cumin in there, coriander, nutmeg, all sorts of things really. This one was developed with Safari Sue in mind because she wasn't a huge fan of spicy things as well when it came, hence the name Zulu Susu. The spiciest thing in this is black pepper. It has no allergens in it except for, we use, as with all our sauces, except for one of them which I'll get onto later, we use distilled barley vinegar. So on the back of the label we've got distilled barley vinegar in bold so people can see that it contains a potential allergen. However, scientific research says that the distillation process removes the gluten content to a safe level for people that are gluten intolerant. But enough chat, let's find out what it's all about. Right, we shake this one up. Zulu Susu is quite an interesting one. If you leave it on your shelf for a while, it can go a little bit paler. It's usually sort of quite a bright, vivid yellowish colour. The reason it can go a little bit pale is because we don't use any artificial colours or anything. All the colour that you can see in it comes from the herbs and spices that go into it. So a little bit of a shake every so often is quite handy for it, just to keep the colour up. And of course, before you do it, because our sauces are a little bit chunkier than most people's, just get that mixed around a little bit, do the shakalaka shake. I'm going to pour it on a little white plate here so you can get an idea of what the colour is. Hopefully with this new camera the colour will be a bit more of an accurate representation, but you never know. So I'll describe it to you. It's a yellowish, sort of a deep yellow hinting on brown with maybe a touch of green in it. You'll see little black flecks in it which are crushed black pepper. You'll also see bits of fresh parsley in there and just some of the herbs and spices going around it. But what does it taste like? Well, what I'm doing is just using a plain tortilla wrap here, so it's not overly flavoured, it's not going to change the taste of it, and I'll just do one of my daft little tastings and see what I can tell you about it. So the first thing you notice about it is that it's got a little tang. We use vinegar, but we use as little vinegar as possible as a preservative, so that things don't just taste overly tangy, unless we want them to taste tangy, that is. Underneath is a very sort of heavy, savoury flavour. You're getting a lot of that sort of garlic hum, but it doesn't taste garlicky. And those spices are quite deep. We describe this one as earthy and chili free. Great, well, it's a great representation because it is chili free. Like I said before, it's got an almost curryish taste coming through to it. No curry in it, but there's a bit of cumin in there. You can taste the coriander coming through. There's that sort of lemony thing. There's also lemon in this. That's all very well and good, I can hear you saying, but what do we do with it? Well, it's like all our sauces, they're pretty versatile. Our little strap line is cook, dip, marinate more. So yeah, you can use them as a dip with a few vegetables or whatever else you like, a few breadsticks and things. Zulu Susu goes quite well with dark meats. It's lovely just painted onto a little bit of steak at the end of cooking. Or again, you can marinate anything. My idea for tomorrow night, and I'll let you know how it goes in the description, is just to put a little bit of Zulu Susu on, then use cornflakes as a crust and make sort of turkey escallops and see how that goes. You may not have seen one of our very first videos, which was an alternative side dish using Zulu Susu. That is oven roasted chickpeas. What you do is oven roasted chickpeas with a little bit of salt and pepper, a touch of oil on them in quite a hot oven if you can. Get them nice and crisp, and then just pour on a little bit of this, mix it around a little bit, and it's a fantastic snack or alternative side, yeah. The other thing that we do with this is if you're making a homemade pizza or a flatbread or something like that, instead of using like tomato based passata, put on Zulu Susu as you normally would the passata, and it completely changes whatever you're eating. So hopefully you can see and hear me. Next up's going to be our new sauce for this year, which is our Nyummy Nyummy based on South African monkey gland. That should be up pretty soon.